All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, I am going to criticize Gervonta Davis. I have received some information from some people that I know in the city of DC. I went to law school there, have a lot of friends there, got family there, people I consider to be family there, and obviously people in boxing gyms. So I got a little buzz on the street in DC about why Lamont Roach might have performed a little better against Gervonta Davis than people expected. And it came from what other people are clearly saying was a big mistake on Gervonta Davis's part and something that bit him. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Gervonta Davis, and we're going to have a little bit of a post-mortem on the fight with Lamont Roach. It has been very hard to do because of all of the noise and the nonsense coming from certain sectors of the fake boxing fraudosphere. I hope you guys understand that sphere of frauds, the people that come up there and just say all kind of nonsense. So it's been taking me a little bit of time to get to something that I'd wanted to talk about for a couple days, which was information that I got out of the city of DC about the fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach, and a mistake that people in DC that are supporters of Lamont Roach think that they made in Gervonta Davis made, and they kind of told me it because they were like, look, man, I feel a little guilty here. So before I get into the details, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. Okay, so here it is. There was a change that Gervonta Davis made from previous times that he had been fighting. He made a change in trainers, but he also made a change in the location in which he was training. He went and had Barry Hunter from DC, from a gym called Headbangers in DC, as his head trainer, while Calvin Ford and Kenny Smith took a backup role. Gervonta Davis also worked out in Washington, D.C. Now, as you know, Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach fought each other in the amateurs. Their teams know each other. The people know each other. They all know each other in the same circle. What was told to me was that Lamont Roach's team knew pretty much what Gervonta Davis was going to do and what his approach was going to be to the fight, because they knew what Gervonta Davis was working on in camp. That because he was in that same area and it was the DC area, and Lamont Roach was a DC fighter, and Gervonta Davis considered DC his second home, but it's not his second home. There's a big rivalry between DC and Baltimore, because DC doesn't want to lose to Baltimore. Baltimore doesn't want to lose to DC. So information was obtained as to what Gervonta Davis was going to do and what his approach to the fight was going to be. Now, is that something that is unusual? No, because Gervonta Davis, as you know, knew what was going on in the camp of Ryan Garcia. Gervonta Davis's camp, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. specifically, was very good at knowing what was going on in other people's camps. Andre Ward famously, in the fight between Kovalev and himself, was saying, we know what's going on in your camp. We know the problems that you have going on in your camp. There's drinking in your camp. You're not listening to your trainer in your camp, right? Had all that information, was saying it. So it's not anything that is unusual, right? So the fact that he could get that information is not unusual, or that people would try to get that information is not unusual. So no fault if this is true, that Lamont Roach was, and then they did know what Gervonta Davis's game plan was and knew what kind of things they were planning to do for the fight, not just through familiarity, but actually knowing, because either you got, Didn't tell me who it was. I didn't want to know who it was, whether it was a sparring partner or somebody who was in the gym cleaning, right? Or whatever. Who knows? The information got out. That's not an unusual thing. And they believe that it affected the fight because the fight played out how they thought it was going to play out. Now, there has been criticism, and I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that this is related to Barry Hunter, trying very specifically not to mention him because, man, I don't have any reason to believe that Barry Hunter would be involved in that. But again, the Andre Ward had plenty of information from Kovalev without getting the information directly from John David Jackson, at least in the first fight. In the second fight, Sergey Kovalev was Andre Ward was offered the information from my guy who was the trainer of Sergey Kovalev, John David Jackson. But, at the end of the day, man, it's just, I would rather talk about those things because that goes to what Gervonta Davis should or should not do for the next camp. Don't train in your opponent's own hometown. Don't train in DC for a fight against a guy from DC because maybe that does open them up to knowing a few more things about you. But especially if they're very, very familiar with you and generally don't like you, because come on, man, DC cats and Baltimore cats, they don't really mix like that. But in the boxing world, they may. But at the end of the day, a big city thing like that, DC is going to try to get the edge that DC can get. And it appears as if DC might have gotten a little bit of an edge. Now, I would also rather talk about things like that, which is just wily things in the boxing world. You know what I mean? Like, if you can do it, if you can get it, you get it. If you can find the playbook from the other team, hey man, ain't nothing wrong with that. So this is again not something where Lamont probably had a good idea what he was capable of to begin with, but to have that little extra, if that's true, could have boosted him up. Could have boosted him up a little bit. Now, as far as a second subject was Lamont Roach filing that complaint with the New York State Athletic Commission. I'm somebody that is, I believe in having, really solid partnerships and relationships with people. And I believe a boxing match is an arrangement, is agreement between two people to make money. And Gervonta Davis extended himself to Lamont Roach and gave Lamont Roach an opportunity to make real money and perform on a big stage. And I do think that to push for him to be disqualified or push for him to have it overturned, from a position in somebody in Lamont Roach's position, I don't know if that's the smartest move. It may be ethically the right thing and maybe something that's very understandable from considering the personal achievement that he's looking for. I want to say that I beat him, but just the mere asking for that, if you don't get it, even if you do get it, doesn't mean that Gervonta Davis is going to fight you again. And if Gervonta Davis doesn't fight you again, good luck with that big payday, because you don't necessarily get his fans, especially if you isolate yourself from his fans by doing things like suing, if that's what he decided to do. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.